Hello, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a 2 looks, 1 palette using my take on the Colourpop Baroque 9-pan. It's sort of a smoky blue-gray palette. It goes a little bit into purple and mine goes a little bit into teal as well because Colourpop strikes again with all of their promotional images for this palette looking slightly different, but I wanted it to be a little bit on the teal side. So today I'm going to do more of a teal look. I think tomorrow's video, sorry, not tomorrow's video, tomorrow's look is probably going to be a little bit more on the purple gray side. I think that's all I have to say. Let's get started. I have already put on foundation, concealer, I have primed my eyes, I have done my brows, I've set my eye primer, probably something else, who knows. And I'm kind of at that point where I look like a version of myself that's been through a photocopier a couple too many times. Like, I know it's me, but there's something off about her. She's a bit uncanny valley right now. So we're gonna change that with makeup. And I'm gonna start by adding some of this shimmery teal. And I'm gonna put that sort of on the outer half to 2/3 of my lid. I'm just gonna pat that on with my finger. I'm not worrying too much about being neat right now because we've got so much other makeup to go on, but I mean, I don't want to be terribly untidy. There goes the pressure release on the rice cooker, I think. I don't know. I'm fairly hopeless in the kitchen, so I don't really know what my roommate does when she makes, you know, actual food for herself. Okay, so that looks scary. Now I'm going to move into the probably middle half of my lid. And for that, I'm going to actually put down a mixture of these 2 shades. They combine, let's make sure that finger's not filthy, to make this sort of silvery shade. It's very pretty. And I like how sort of nondescript it is. Like, it doesn't really look that silver, but you can also see some purple. You could make a case that it's a light brown. I can almost see some blue in it. It's a really interesting shade. I'm gonna put that over the inner half. Sorry, the center half of my lid. And really build it up so that you are only seeing a bit of that blue underneath, at least in where they're overlapping. Today's the first day here where it's actually cold enough to wear like a full-length sweater. I'm very excited. So many of my clothes for this time of year are so light, and it's been very strange to move down here and then need to find winter clothes that aren't, you know, actually wintry. They're very much things that I would wear in early fall, back where I grew up. So I'm going to go into this white shade. This actually has quite a bit of gold, but it almost has a little bit of a cooler base than a true white. It's a really interesting color. I'm going to take that on my shader brush, and I'm going to be very liberal in putting that in my inner corner and up a ways onto the lid. Yesterday I did a pretty similar look, except I used like a light green shimmer, which I'll actually show you in a second. I'm not going to use it in this one, but I think it's worth mentioning, in place of this white, and I put the shimmer like up here. It was so pretty. I should have taken a picture, but I just forgot about it. I was intending to film and then I just didn't, so I have no evidence, but trust me that it was kind of cute. I'm gonna put that same shade under the brow bone. And then I'm going to take a crease brush and I'm going to go into this sort of matte sage green shade here. This is actually the green shimmer that I used yesterday. It's very pretty. But alas, it is not actually in my Baroque palette, so it is not appearing in this tutorial. I have a little bit of a line there, so I'm just going to try to blend that out with my finger. I feel like you could reasonably describe this look as kind of muddy, but that's sort of what I'm going for. I really like these, especially with cool toned looks, when you can't really tell exactly what color it is. It's sort of green in areas, sort of blue in areas. To me, it makes me think of like water at night, you know, like if you went to a lake after dusk. I feel like these kinds of colors are what you see. Okay, we don't need to ramble on about that forever. I'm going to take this smudger brush and I'm going to again dip into that shimmery teal right here and put that under the eyes just to bring out the teal in this look a little bit more, because I feel like it's actually bordering a little bit too much on, I don't know, blue, green, gray, purple combination. I don't know why I did that so slowly. I don't usually require that amount of precision, but for some reason, my eyes are weirdly sensitive today. It's not the shadow. They were being weird when I was getting ready earlier too. Okay. So that liner is pretty heavy, and I think I'm going to add just a little bit on sort of the outer quarter of the upper lash line just to even things out a little bit. Patting the edges out with my finger because that helps. I suppose that's really all blending is just patting things out, but so I think the eyes, at least as far as shadow goes, are done. I'm gonna add some mascara and then we can move on to the cheeks and the lips. Time for lips. I'm gonna go quite nude on the lips today, and for that I'm going to use this Wet n Wild, it's one of their glossy lipsticks. This is in the shade Peach Please. On me it comes off very nude with a little bit of peachy pink. I like the base color that gives me, but I do feel like it's almost a little bit too white based, which is kind of weird for me. That's not usually a problem that I have with colors. So I like to often top it off with just a little bit of this Wet n Wild lip gloss in Great Correlation. Okay, so I like the way the somewhat warmer lip pairs with the very cool toned eye. Now I want to add a bit of extra warmth to the cheeks, and for that I'm going to use sort of a mixture of these two blushes. They're both peachy and open. This one's more of like a dusty peach, while this one is a bit more of a true peach, and this is much more shiny. This is more of a blush topper than a true blush, I think. So I'm gonna apply those pretty heavily. Neither of them is super pigmented. I want a lot of glow today because it's a cold, rainy day. I just want to be shiny. Okay, now I'm going to blend that. I don't know why that looks so unblended on camera. It doesn't look that bad in the mirror. Oh well. Very rarely is the thing that's telling you it's less blended the one that's wrong. So we're gonna trust the camera on this one. And I think I want to add a little bit of highlight as well. And for that, I'm going to use one of my Panda's eyeshadow shades, which is this very light gold, sort of a champagne color. Just gonna very carefully. Oh! Spoiler alert. I feel like that gives such a healthy glow. There is some sparkle to it, but it's not super overpowering. I'm gonna just clean that brush off on the back of my hand, which is now very glowy and pretty. Edward Cullen Who. And just blend over that entire area. Okay, I really just applied blush a little too low, but oh well, I don't care. I like it. And anyway, when anyone else sees me today, I'm gonna have a mask and they won't be able to tell where my blush is. Oh, I was about to start my outro and I don't need to do that because there's a second half of this video, which I hope you'll stick around for. See you tomorrow. Hello, so today's gonna be the purple look that I promised yesterday, or a few seconds ago. So I think I'm gonna start out actually with some blue, this sort of gunmetal color. I've already primed my lid. I'm in exactly the same spot as I started yesterday. So I'm gonna take that on my finger and I'm just gonna put that, I think, pretty close to the lash line. I don't have a lot of a plan for this look. I don't have much of a plan for this look. Oh my goodness. It is not so early in the morning that I should have a difficult time talking. So that's down. Next, I'm going to take this sort of silver lilac color. This is such a pretty shade. I love it. And I'm going to put that both over everywhere where I have that gunmetal and then up to the end of my lid. Something about the shade really brings out the blue in the gunmetal, I think. Also, this is totally beyond the point, but I feel like I haven't actually used this shade a whole lot, but there is a ton of use on it. It makes me think that the formula on these is not as close to the 10 pans as I thought, because I used the gold in my Rosé in the Air, which is their Modern Renaissance dupe, like for weeks and weeks, maybe even months before I hit pan. And I've used this maybe 8 or 9 times, and I think I'm actually approaching pan. This video is going to be all over the place, just fair warning. It's the day before the election. I'm a nervous wreck. I've already voted, but we'll see. You guys live in the future, so it's a lot less stressful time for you, hopefully. The next shade, I'm going to deepen up that outer corner using this gray. I don't know how well it comes off. I don't know how well it comes off on camera, but this has quite a bit of blue to it, and it has a lot of shimmer. I'm just going to put that in the outer corner. I brought over some silver glitter too, but I don't know if I want that. So I actually really like where that is. I think I'm going to blend things out. And for that, I think I'm going to go in with this taupe shade. You know, I'm not actually 100% sure that this was in my Baroque palette duping the vibes, but we're going to use it. It'll be fine. Duping the vibes of my Duping the Vibes palette. Just, you know, allowing just these slightly different iterations to infinity. As n approaches infinity, the chance of my looks looking anything like the Colourpop Baroque palette goes to 0. I need to be stopped. All I think about now is math. Okay. So I think I'm going to go in now. Where are you, brush? There you are. I think I'm going to go under my eye with that same shimmery gray. I'm just going to start with the outer, like, third of under my eye, and then I think I'll probably switch to the gunmetal. Is that even? A little more on this side. Okay, now I'm going to dip into that gunmetal shade that we were using at the beginning and go everywhere else. And now, because there's a lot of dark happening, I want to add some lightness and some bright. And for that, I think I'm actually going to use not the silver like I was originally intending, but this purple shade. I'm just going to take that on my pinky finger and layer that up quite heavily in my inner corner. I think that will really help bring forward that this is a purple look and not a blue or gunmetal look. I'm also going to take it up a little bit higher, sort of along my orbital bone, so that it meets up with the lilac shade I put down earlier. So I think I'm liking where that is at. I am going to add just a little bit of brightness using that same highlight shade I used yesterday, which is this cool toned white with some glimmer to it. I'm just gonna stick that right under the brow bone. And I think that is it for the eyes. Now, I want to keep the cheeks and the lips fairly light because, you know, I'm going to a Zoom meeting, not a party. Though those aren't mutually exclusive these days somehow. So I'm just using this sort of mauvey nude shade. It has a little bit of coolness to it, which I think plays well with the eye look. You can hear the shower running upstairs. Okay, so now I will add some blush. For that, I'm using, again, sort of a nudie pink. And I will add a little bit of highlight just over that entire area using this shade. Do I want some more? Yes. Silly question. So I'm going to use that same white that I used to highlight the brow bone. I'm going to take that on this blush brush. I always have to be very ginger with these because my brushes are bigger than the pan and I don't want to hit anything that's next to it. Because though that yellow could be an absolutely stunning highlight on some people, on me I think it would be less than ideal. Are those even? I feel like I have less on this side, but I don't know if that's just the lighting. Okay, that's fun. Well, I'm going to add some mascara very quickly. I will probably just speed through that and then we can regroup. So after playing around with this palette that I built, I adore it. I think it's such a pretty set of shades. I really like these cool tones, somewhat smoky looks that it gives me. And I think it's something that I won't consciously think, oh, I'm using my Baroque Duping the Vibes palette, but I think it is something that I will continue to pair shades from and create looks using. So this was a good choice. I'm glad I decided to do this palette and really focus on using it. Is my look a lot for my 1 p.m. Zoom meeting? Yeah, but that's fine. Quarantine has its own rules. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll go check out the video that I made building this palette in the first place, so you can see a little bit more in depth exactly which shades I'm drawing from. And I hope you will consider liking and subscribing. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!